The holidays can bring back a lot of memories from our childhood, and that can include family members that are no longer with us. Connie DeCray, the loss specialist at Hospice of the Red River Valley, is with us this morning with some advice on how to cope with grief during the holidays. Thank you so much for joining us today. This affects so many people, and it doesn't always have to be the first Christmas without a loved one. Could be the second, the fifth, the 10th. It's still sometimes hard.
Absolutely.
Why is it important to have this conversation and kind of be ready for it going into the holidays?
Well, grief is something that has its own set of challenges. Of course, there are emotions that run very high, especially at this time of the year. I think we can agree that the holidays are hectic under the best of circumstances, but you add the component of grief when emotions are intense and memories really are everywhere, reminders, and that makes for a combination that really can be challenging for people.
What advice do you have for people to help cope? Because you're right, there's already stress around the holidays, and you know, adding in stress and grieving, it just can be overwhelming.
I think it can be really important to allow for expression of that loss and expression of that relationship. A relationship is really not erased by death, but how we express and how we experience that relationship is what really changes. And so I think to be intentional about maybe setting aside a special dedicated time during the holidays to share stories and memories about that loved one. Maybe even get creative, prepare a favorite food dish that was special to that loved one, and then maybe make copies of the recipe and share them with those who are gathered can be good. Or do an activity even that was something that was important to that loved one, like viewing the Christmas lights or taking a hike after the meal. There are many ways to be creative to really continue to express the importance of that relationship of that loved one.
That includes children as well, right? And you say express, it doesn't have to be something you have to do alone or just as an adult. You should include children in this process.
Absolutely, kids should be involved. You know, kids are very sensitive to the ebbs and the flows of the emotions of the adults in their lives. And so I say just really include them in the planning of the events. They might be afraid to ask questions like, are we even going to have a holiday this year? Or am I going to get presents? And they might feel guilty for perhaps even looking forward to the holiday when they sense sadness in the adults in their lives. And so include them in planning and keep them informed about changes, and offer a lot of reassurances to them when they do have these questions. They may be hesitant to express themselves, and they might not even have the vocabulary to express what they're feeling. So really have good antenna toward those kids. Give them extra attention and opportunity to express themselves.
Do you have resources, supportive resources available? People might be overwhelmed and just need a little help to get through this.
Absolutely. At Hospice of the Red River Valley, we have quite a distinctive depth of grief-related resources for people. We are available to the community at large, as well as to families who have been served on hospice care, and the resources are free. And they can include printed resources or electronic, or visiting with a grief specialist, or groups or classes as well. We have quite a bit available. And I might add, if you are a family that's facing life-limiting illness, you are faced with many questions and concerns, and maybe even watching someone who's having pain. And please don't hesitate to call us, because we can assist with those issues.
Connie, thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lisa.
Stay with us. Coming up on North Dakota Today, how you can help fight those battling cancer.